We're in Paraguay.
Oh gosh, yeah.
We're actually in the same place. This has been happening a lot lately because we were in Vegas for 5 days.
Yeah, we don't get to hang out. Typically, we hang out together once a year. In fact, it took 3 years of working together before we met for the first time.
And that is not unusual when you have like remote staff. Mm-hmm. Is that it was 3 years.
3 years
before we met in real life. Where did we meet? Was it Scottsdale?
It was Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a little bit crazy, but that's how it is when you have remote clients.
This is the most I've seen you like forever.
Yeah.
I've seen you several days in Vegas, and then not quite a week here.
Yeah, most days here.
Most days here.
Yeah. Dinner almost every night.
Yeah, I know. You keep talking me into eating dinner, and then I gain weight.
Well, I didn't tell him to order the cheapest.
I got a thing last night called Chippewasu. It's so fucking good. It's like this. That's what I was having last night. It's like this corn cake, like cornmeal and onions and cheese, and you just eat it.
It is so good. They serve it with everything here. In fact, they just bring it for the table. And the waitress thought Caleb was ordering it for the whole table. It's like, nope.
No, that's for me. Solo, por favor. Shit. Yeah, that was some good shit.
Yeah, it's great, guys. Try it. The food here is out of this freaking world. In fact, that's what we should talk about.
You want to talk about that now?
Yeah, let's talk about it because
I
don't know about you guys in the audience. I had some very preconceived notions about what a third world country would be like.
And technically, Paraguay is not a third world country,
No.
but people consider it a third. It's an emerging market country, and third world would be like Africa.
Yeah, like Sudan.
And Paraguay, as I talk about a lot. Paraguay. By the way, we're in Paraguay. Did we even state that?
Yeah,
yes,
we're
I said
in
that
Unchained, Paraguay.
Yeah, so we're in my apartment, and as I mentioned many times, Paraguay improves every time you come here. So I've been coming here for years, and every time you come here, I've talked about this. The ride from the airport to down to here, to this part of town, which is like what, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, that ride improves. So you see like less trash. The roads get better. The old buildings they tear down and they replace.
Yeah.
New buildings go up. All around here, every time I come, I'm staring at a different direction I usually stare at from my apartments, and you can see all these new buildings that did not exist just a few years ago. And it's not like overbuilding like China used to do. They're building because they need it. A lot of people are coming here. Argentinians are coming here. A lot of Europeans are coming here.
Huge amount of Germans and Mennonites too. They have a big Mennonite culture.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of Koreans who come here. There are people from Asia who come here. There are people from China who come here. So yeah.
Our hotel building has, I think, 60 units in it. There are 8 Asian guys, 8 Japanese guys.
Yeah, see?
And then we brought a group of, 9 Americans. 8 Americans.
No.
6
You
Americans.
have Europeans and Canadians.
Two Australians, somebody from the Czech Republic, and a Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
So the mix just in our building is almost all tourists.
Right, they're all part of our Get Residency in Paraguay service. We cover the hotel, so you all stay in the same hotel. You're in the same hotel as they are, right?
Yeah, but it's not a hotel, it's an apartment hotel.
Is it an
so
apartment building? I was just in the lobby.
Yeah, so we all have 1-bedroom apartments. Actually, I have a 2-bedroom because they ran out of 1-bedrooms.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's same
so
price?
My friend from Brazil might come down for a few days.
Oh my God, okay. So they didn't charge us extra for that?
No, because we brought the group down.
Okay, right.
So why, they love us.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, what's funny is when you come down here for residency, you have to stay for 10 days. How long are you guys?
10 days.
Yeah, so 10 days, but you only have appointments the first 3 or 4 days, and then you're done. You have to wait in case there's problems.
They're not big appointments
they're
either.
easy.
The first one was a couple of hours, and then we had a coffee at the mall.
Yeah, no, it's really simple. We have a really good legal team down here who's awesome. So they take care of all that crap. So they minimize the number of appointments people actually have to go to.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a lot. When I did this,
that's what he was saying. It was a nightmare when Caleb did this.
It was a fucking nightmare. When I had to do this 4 years ago or whatever, 3 years, you have to go all over the fucking place. Now, if you have a good legal team, if you have good legal people here, which is hard to find, you can narrow it down. They can consolidate and do a lot of it at their office. They can do, you have to figure it all out.
Yeah. And they also have gone out of their way to feed us. They set up
They didn't
lunch.
feed me. They fed you guys? Oh, for the appointments when you went on?
Yes. They fed the guys lunch.
Right.
I didn't go to that one, so I missed out on lunch, but there's plenty of good, cheap food here.
Everything's cheap here. You were amazed because you went out with the guys I wasn't there. You went out to the guys who had like a nice upper class restaurant here, and it was like 9 people, and it was like $200.
Yeah, we had wine.
Yeah.
We had a fine dining meal for 9 people, but maybe 4 or 5 bottles of wine, dessert.
Yep.
$250, including the tip.
So I took everyone out to dinner 2 nights ago, and we didn't get, people drank, we didn't get dessert though, and that was $202 USD. And this is the best food of the country.
And it's when they say the best food in the country, let me just tell you, I like beef, and I'm from the Midwest. We have beef.
Yeah.
Our beef is nothing like this.
No.
Nothing. It blows my mind every time I taste it.
Meat is so fucking good here. I know. God damn. And you know what? It's not like meat is good everywhere in South America, because if you go to Colombia, the beef is fine. It's fine. It's fine. Here it's way better. And you know why? I'm guessing is Paraguay is very fertile. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like Juan Pablo's talked about this, where you could just throw seeds in your backyard and boom, you get all kinds. That's why it's so green here. Yeah. So I think the quality of the fertility here, of what the cows eat and all that stuff, it's just, the food here is so goddamn good. Goddamn. Especially the empanadas with the cheese in it. It's not in my diet.
The grocery stores here too, my God, you guys. It's like going to the best Whole Foods you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Except the service is quadrupled. There are people waiting everywhere to help you, and everything is so immaculately organized. You've never seen the likes of it. But the prices are a tenth of what you would pay at home. And
to put this in context, I mentioned this before in my other videos, my 5 Flag stuff. When you come to a country like this and you're a Westerner, you stay in the nicest part of town. Mm-hmm. So it's not like every every supermercado is as good as she's talking about in the whole country. But if you're a Westerner coming here, even if you're a lower income Westerner, your money goes farther, so you end up staying in the nicest part of town. So you get the nicest, highest end thing you would get in your city here at 1/10 the price. That's why it's so awesome to come to countries like this, where people just focus on the negatives and the lower infrastructure and the bad roads or the parts of town that are not good. But that's not relevant to you. When you come here as a Westerner, you're not going to stay in the worst parts of town. You're not going to stay in a hovel. Right? You're going to stay in the nicest hotel or nice apartments literally in the country. When it comes to Paraguay, you're in one of the nicest apartment buildings in the country.
Exactly. Literally. And it's my 2-bedroom apartment with 2 bathrooms is like $80 a night.
And that's high.
Exactly.
2 bedrooms.
The fanciest, high floor.
Yeah, I'm about similar here. I've got 2 bedrooms here. I don't know what is a night, maybe about that. Yeah, I'm doing a separate video on that. But yeah. I know. You like this more than you thought you'd like it. You're like super excited here.
I am. Guys, I had that American idea that countries down here were dangerous and dirty and filthy and frightening. And I've walked around in the evening by myself, not at 11 o'clock at night, but after the sun falls, walking home from the supermarket.
Yeah, you could hear in this part of town.
Absolutely no worries at all.
Yeah.
They have Uber. They have something called Bolt down here, which is similar but even cheaper.
Yep.
I just took an Uber from my place to Caleb's, which is maybe 3 or 4 miles, but we're in the middle of the biggest city in this country. It costs $3 for the luxury choice.
It doesn't cost $3 in Dubai. It costs a little more in Dubai. Because I'm on 2 ends of the spectrum. I'm on Dubai and then Paraguay, which is kind of why I like it. I like both.
It's a balance.
Yeah. That's so funny. It costs $3.
I know. It blows my mind. The people are so nice. See, if you go to Europe and you don't speak English, if you're in France or Germany, in Germany they're going to yell at you. And in French they're going to say, stupid American, I thumb my nose at you. Go home.
France.
Yes. And people here are so nice.
They don't care.
Speak no Spanish at all.
Yeah.
So my line that I've come up with is, no habla español. Americana es stupido. And the people laugh. I've had people give me a little hug and encourage me. They don't speak English.
No, they're great here. They like foreigners here. Yeah, Paraguayans like foreigners. And it's not just like in Panama, they like Westerners. They like Americans. They don't necessarily like other. But in Paraguay, if you're foreign, if you're Asian, if you're black, if you're Hispanic or non-Paraguayan, they do not care. If you're Western, it doesn't matter. It's just a really chill, relaxed, don't give a shit, happy culture here. Which is one of the reasons I fell in love with this place. as compared to places like Argentina and Brazil, which are also cool, but I couldn't live there. Paraguay is awesome. Yeah.
I'm looking at property already.
I know that. I know that. We weren't expecting that.
No, I did not.
Shit.
In fact, I told Caleb I probably don't want to get my residency there, so I didn't go through the process this time. And I thought, I definitely want to do Armenia. That's absolutely going to happen. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm here, I think, boy, Billie, you're a dumbass. This place is great.
Well, you're coming back here in July.
I'm coming back in July. Yeah. And you want to be here. If you have the chance, if you want to get a residency, totally come with me. It's fabulous. And we've had a great group of guys. We always have a great group of guys, don't we?
Yes, always.
We always get along.
I'm always super impressed. The guys who come to this kind of thing are the upper tier, cool, smart, fun. And we were just talking about this last night at dinner. Most of the guys here have scored dates here. Most. So like 9. So how many guys? 9? 8?
8.
So yeah, it's us and then the 8. Because 2 more are coming in, right?
In July. They switched.
Okay, that's right. So we had 11. Oh yeah, okay. So out of the 8, like 6 or 7 of them have gotten dates here with the girlies. And they're like, "Oh, the girls here." I'm like, "I told you."
I'm not into women, but man, the women here are stunning. The men are really small, kind of rotund, not my vibe. No. They're really similar in height to the women.
Yeah.
There's very little difference.
That's true.
But the women, guys, the women down here are gorgeous.
It's a certain type. It's a very narrow, specific type of girl, type of woman. I gotta say woman so people don't get offended.
I think
Female.
of myself as a girl because it's I'm not that ancient.
So yeah, it's a certain type. It's not for everybody, but it's for a lot of people. Yeah, we could go into detail, but that'd be for my other brand.
Yeah, I think I'm encouraging some of the guys on this trip to sit down with Caleb and shoot a video about their experience with the ladies down here.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. Most of the group are actually not just like try to get dates, got dates.
Oh, they're bringing ladies back to our apartment building. It's an open air with a courtyard, so it's a U shape. I'm over here, they're a couple floors below me, and I can see them coming and going. And we're joking that
that's awesome.
We have this group of American guys with just one woman, and they keep bringing all these different chicks back. It's like, they probably think I'm the madam, which is okay because they're doing great.
You're like, all right, fine.
Exactly. They've been asking me to rate the girls. Of course, I'm not going to do that, but we've been joking and having a great time with it.
Man.
I'm proud of them for stepping
I did not think that would happen.
Zone.
I figured it'd be 1 or 2 of the younger guys who did that and not...
No, actually, it was one of the oldest guys on the trip.
I
He
know that.
scored twice.
I know that.
Right away.
I talked to him.
Third day here, he had already gotten laid twice by different women.
Welcome to Paraguay.
I'm a prude, so, I'm not jumping out on the street.
No, you're not.
You're not not really.
No, you're not. Don't lie.
It's great. These guys they're living it up. They're having a blast. They're having great dates.
We should put that in the marketing material for the Get Recipe.
Madam Billie will help you.
Get laid in Paraguay. I'm honestly shocked. I had no idea it would be that strong of a percentage of the guys who came down here.
Heck, we were at dinner. The guys went to a club. I didn't go along. I'm not a nightclub girl. But the oldest member of our group, who's in his 60s, was just hanging out with the other guys, no interest in even picking anyone up. And a gorgeous woman sent him a beer.
Really?
Yes.
When was this? Last night?
Friday night. So 2 nights ago.
The guy starting with the letter D?
Yes.
Wow. Well, he's a good-looking guy.
He's a good-looking guy, but he wasn't on the prowl. He wasn't
interacting. No, I can see him just chilling out. A woman sent him a beer.
Yes.
So about how old is this woman, do you think? Is her?
Like in her 30s, late 30s, maybe.
So this guy's in his early 60s. Woman in her 30s, late 30s, you're thinking?
I would guess that.
Okay, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, especially when they look so beautiful. Who the hell cares how old they are? Yeah.
Guys always complain on my other brand about how hard it is to meet women and how Western women are bitchy. I don't necessarily agree with some of that, but still, get outside of the collapsing West and find out what life is like when you're not in a world where everyone's pissed off and upset all the time. It's a big difference. And the women look different or look better or, yes, we could, I've talked about this.
Yeah, but to me it was really surprising. I expected, most Latinas are very attractive, or
It depends on the culture. It depends.
True.
There's different kinds of Latinas.
There are, but I find that, in general, many are very pretty. But I came down here and went, holy smokes.
Mm-hmm. That's so funny.
Like gold mine, and the women outnumber the men like 17-1 or something. Is
that true? I don't know. I haven't looked at the statistics. It feels like that walking around. I see a lot more women than I see men. I don't know. I should look up the data.
When you go out to dinner, we've seen this at every restaurant we've gone to. There'd be a group of maybe 2 guys and like 12 women.
That is very common here. And you know what? Now that you're saying that, the people I know here, I have friends here. They all have like families with daughters. So mom and dad are like 3 daughters. Mom and dad are like 2 daughters, or mom and dad have 2 daughters and 1 son. Yeah, this might just be anecdotal, but you guys can look up the data, see maybe it is the same way. It's 1 to 1. But it just feels like you're right. Walking around, I see a lot more women than I see men. Of all ages.
Amounts, yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder why that is. I don't know if
the war wasn't that long ago.
Well, yeah, it was. It was a long time ago. The Bolivia War? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the 80s.
Yeah, but...
Oh, I see. Oh,
hello,
I see.
do
Good
the
point.
math.
You're right. Oh,
men were killed in the 80s.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah. So Paraguay, if you didn't know, had a brief war. Bolivia, they were also a horrible dictatorship back in the 80s, like 1989 when I was in high school. But that was a long time ago. And, yeah. Now they just have standard corrupt Democrat government like
everyone else.
Yeah, and they bitch and moan about it.
Although they did just in the last few years, 3 years I think, establish a libertarian party here. And
you are now?
I had lunch with the founder of the Libertarian Party, with our client who starts with D.
Yeah.
And a German expat just yesterday. We spent about 5 hours lunching and sort of learning about their experience and the political scene here. So.
They're so crazy about their politics. Have you seen those? It's old school, like the 50s, where they had those vans and there's just loudspeakers.
No.
Oh,
really?
They have those. That's more downtown. It's
okay.
not this part of town. They don't allow it here, I don't think. But yeah, it's really funny. They really take their politics they're very passionate. I guess Americans are too, but more so, more emotional. They're a Latin culture, so they're more emotional about shit. Yeah.
And I get it. The heat down here makes you fiery.
Yeah. Well, this is the tail end of their summer. So we're recording this video in March. So it's still pretty warm here. And the humidity is not humid, but it's more humid than like you're used to. Right?
Okay, let me just put my spin on this.
Yeah, so it
is hotter than the armpit of hell here.
Yeah, because you're from...
I'm from Wisconsin.
Okay.
So when I left, it was maybe 1 degree Celsius, about 35 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh. And down here, it is in the 80s and 90s. The humidity is 80%, which we have in Wisconsin. We have very, very humid summers because we have a lot of bodies of water. Oh. That's not uncommon, but experiencing that like 70-degree temperature change.
Yeah, it's weird.
As soon as I walk outside, I'm sweating. That's why my hair is up and why I look like this. There's no controlling this white girl afro that I've got going on. My hair just keeps getting bigger as the day goes by.
Yeah.
And it's never dry because I'm always covered in sweat.
This is the kind of thing, if you're new to traveling internationally, and she is.
Yes.
This is the kind of thing you have to adjust to is these radical climate shifts. I'm used to this now, where you're in snow. I mean, when I came from Portland, it was snowing. You're in snow and you're freezing. You're on a plane for a few hours. You walk out and suddenly it's like 90 degrees, hot, sunny, and you're like, what the hell? And so I'm just used to it, but it's something you have to get used to is that difference.
It is. I think that's been the only trouble for me.
Yeah.
Is that, and I understand CS just so much better now because the heat is so oppressive that I walked, 4 blocks to the supermarket and came back. And I was so exhausted. I mean, I wasn't carrying 800 pounds of groceries. Right. It was just a little walk.
See,
But the heat was such that when I got back and looked at the steps to access the front door of the apartment building, I thought, I'm not sure I can walk up these. My legs are just so hot and tired.
See, and that's just something you're used to. I'm from Dubai, so to me this is like, it's hot. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And something else, this is a Five Flags tip, is... most of the world is hot.
Yeah.
So if you're the kind of person, and I was like this for most of my adult life, if you're the kind of person who's used to cold or more cool temperatures, like Pacific Northwest United States, London, where most of the year it's cool, cloudy, rainy, it's not hot, that actually puts you at a disadvantage for traveling internationally because most of the world, if you look at a world map of where the human beings are, is hot. My daughter asks me this all the time. Dad, where's the place in the world that has really low taxes and is really cold all the time? Nowhere. I mean, Alaska, but you're still in the United States. That's not low taxes.
And then everything, the cost of living is so high, it doesn't
Right.
doesn't matter.
So when you go anywhere cool in the world, cool as in not temperature, cool as in neat, it's going to be warm. So I forced myself years ago. This is one reason I chose Dubai, to force myself to acclimate to higher temperatures. So that way, when I go to Thailand, Dubai, South America, Panama, I mean, everywhere in the world, everywhere, it's hot. And that way I'm like, oh my God, it's hot. I'm a little more adjusted after living in Dubai for 2.5 years. I'm a little more, I don't love it, but I'm a little more acclimated to it than I was. So it actually helps. Now, if you're going to one or two places and they're both a set temperature, that's different. But if you're traveling around and that's your lifestyle, like it is mine, it will behoove you to get used to hotter temperatures because most places are warm or hot. It's just the way it works. You're not going to go to Sweden all the time because, you're going to go to somewhere that's hot, which is everywhere. Yeah. Which sucks. And humidity too. So where I grew up in Pacific Northwest, we have no humidity.
Oh, that's
so
a shock.
I would go to when I was a young man, I started going like Florida. And I'd be like, what the hell is this? You have to get used to that too, a little bit, because many places on the earth, more than 50% in terms of where people are, is a little more humid. So if you use the heat and humidity a little better, you get, it's a less of a culture shock.
I would say jumping in the way I did, where it's at the end of their summer, and we know that's usually the hottest time of the year in any climate.
Yeah.
Is when you're making that transition into autumn. You have those sort of dog days of summer.
Yeah.
This is the least advantageous time for a little chubby northern pork chop like me to be down in this climate.
Right. So when you come back in July, it's perfect.
So looking forward to
So
it.
June, July, August is their winter, but it's not winter with snow and rain. They have a little rain. It's not like that. It's warm. So it's like 65 and sunny, 75 and sunny. It's amazing.
I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
Although, guys, I'm not going to complain. When I left Wisconsin on Sunday, we had gotten 12.4 inches of snow that day. I drove about 3 hours south through blizzard conditions and was worried the whole time that my flight wouldn't leave. So I'm not sad about being hot. It's really novel to me. Mm-hmm. It just changes my plans. I thought I would do more outdoor activities like hiking and things.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I'm doing that until July.
Mm-hmm. Oh, July you'll be out. You'll be out every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've already met some people. I've made some connections with the polo club, so that I can find a jumping instructor, so I can do some riding while I'm down here.
Really?
And see if I'm able to.
Won't hurt your back?
Well, the thing is, they use Spanish horses down here.
They're smaller. What does that mean?
And the Spanish horses have they move slightly differently. I have national titles in riding horses from the Iberian Peninsula, which is what they import here.
Right.
Spain. Their gaits are much softer. They use their bodies a little differently, and they're not as big movers as the
Did you actually go out there, or did you talk to them?
Not yet. I just talked to them.
You going next week? Going this week?
Yeah, I'm going next week.
Oh, cool.
Next Wednesday.
I leave early, so I leave. I've already been here for 2 weeks. She's only been here for a few days. So I leave actually tonight. Her and the guys are here for till Thursday.
Next Friday.
So you're here almost another week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to go to Maldives, my wife.
Oh dear.
Life.
What a horrible.
I know. I know that. I haven't seen her in like 5 weeks. She's getting like, when are you coming home? Like, I don't know, 1 more day, 2 more days.
That's what you signed up for, Pinky.
That's what I told her. Hey, this is twice a year. Yeah.
But she would have melted down here. And she's a lovely girl who cares more about her parents. Obviously, I don't. I'm an outdoor girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're motivated different ways. I'm motivated to make money. She's motivated to feel and look beautiful.
Right. No, she would hate it here right now.
She would be melting, the poor thing.
She would hate
so it was a good decision for her to stay at
She
home.
never wants to come to.
Thing.
People always ask, even on this trip, hey, is your wife here? Like, no. I say, you want to go to Paraguay for 3 weeks? She's like, now if I said, UK, Paris, somewhere sexy with women think is, Western women think are great, then yeah.
Oh, you should take her
Dubai.
to Paris right now. They have a trash strike. So there's trash everywhere in the streets.
Oh, well, we can talk about that some other time. But when I took her to Paris, actually I just did a podcast on this you may have already seen, where her whole life she wanted to go to Paris because that's what American girls want to do. Paris and so romantic. And I said, so I took her to Paris several years ago for the first time. And I said, I'd warn her about what you just talked about. Hey, the people in Paris, when they realize you're an American and you don't speak French, they're kind of assholes. It's like New York. In some ways, it's worse. So just it'll be fine. Yeah. At the end of the trip, she's like, oh my God, you're right. Fuck Paris. Fuck this. We had more. She enjoyed Berlin far more than she enjoyed Paris.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, she's like, I much prefer the Germans and Berlin. That was Paris. She's like, I've checked off my list and I'm ready to go back. I'm like, all right, cool. But anyway, so Paraguay's not a place that people like that are interested in. Although at some point, this is my second home. So I just talked to her about this yesterday. I said, sweetie, at some point, you're going to have to come down, get you residency, and or else you won't see me for 6 weeks. She's like,
We'll do it in winter.
No, definitely.
No,
definitely. That would be only. There's no way in hell I'd come for this. No. Although again, she lives in Dubai. She's experienced this right now, but without the humidity.
Yeah. Well, the humidity is what kills you.
Yes.
Because you can't really cool.
Right. What else?
But it's worth it. The people, like I said, are so.
There's a reason this is in the top 5 list of top 5 places in the world. This country, Paraguay, is the top 5 in terms of my opinion of places to live, have flags in, get residency. Paraguay is in the top 5, and it always will be unless they make some kind of radical change. So there's a reason. Yeah.
And this is where I have to admit, this is my first international trip other than Canada. I mean, I live really close to Canada, so it's not a big deal.
Right.
I was scared shitless. I can't lie.
Tell them about
that.
the plane ride down. You were concerned about that.
I was. See,
because some guys have that fear.
A friend of mine was supposed to come with me because I have a lot of anxiety about going to new places, especially a new country by myself. This is very important for a lot of you guys. Listen to this. This is because a lot of you guys report the same problem. Go ahead. Sorry. This is really important. Well, I had no idea what to expect, so it seemed really overwhelming. Like, I've never had to go to the international terminal. I don't know what the procedure is when you land in a country. What happens?
So your layover was Ecuador?
My layover was in Lima, Peru. And what sucked was it was really short. It was 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Oh, that's short for
So I was, but it was either that or 12 hours somewhere.
Right. So how did you navigate Lima, Peru airport not speaking any Spanish?
There are a lot of signs. In English. The signs are in English. And I found another English-speaking person who was trying to ask directions. We were both trying to do the same thing.
Cute.
So we
American?
No, Canadian.
Canadian, okay.
So we teamed up and figured it out together.
Cool.
And he was relieved to have someone else.
That's cute.
And so was I.
That's great.
So that's the first thing. You can tell when people are kind of befuddled and out of their depth. Mm-hmm. And that gives you opportunity as long as you choose to take it that way. And that's exactly what we did in that situation. Is we'll figure it out together.
That's cool.
And we made it to the flight just as it was. They'd already started boarding, so we made it.
You made it. Well, 2 hours is not. So
it's
when you
inadequate.
Yeah. So her and I have had discussions about this. When you do international layovers, just another tip. You want to make sure they're at least 3 hours.
Yes.
Because if this flight is delayed, if it's a new airport you don't understand, if sometimes airports have terminals, they can drop you in the wrong terminal. You got to take a tram. And you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So you want at least 3 hours to not stress and have that buffer in case the flight is late. So she was doing 2 hours. She still made it. That's good.
But I knew it was not a great idea. I knew that before I left.
Yeah. So you're aware of what you're doing.
But I'd also researched the airport. So the Lima airport is small. There's only one terminal.
That's true. That's a smaller airport. It's a big city, but it's a small airport.
Exactly. Yeah. So do your research. Arm yourself with knowledge of what the airport looks like where you're landing, so that it erases a lot of that anxiety.
Good point.
Because you have some idea of what to expect.
I didn't think of that.
I also looked on YouTube for videos of walkthroughs.
Oh my God,
so
you're so funny.
Influencer. I'm an anxious person.
You're right. I know. I can't relate, but you're right.
For God's sake.
Well, a lot of you guys are like a lot of the people are anxious too. They've reported this. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm nervous about it. I've never done this.
Yes.
And she's never done anything like this in her life, and she did. I told her this. Because I didn't realize she had not left the country until after she bought her tickets. I said, dude, going to Paraguay is kind of an advanced level trip. You probably should have picked something easier like Mexico. But she did it, and you made it, and you didn't have any problems, and you didn't miss any flights, and you didn't freak out.
No, not at all.
Yeah, cool.
The biggest trouble for me was I was so worried about immigration. Like, what happens? I don't know what the protocol is, what I need to do.
Right.
But to dial back a little bit, I went on YouTube and I found people that were doing, like, this is what it looked like when we landed in the Lima airport.
That's so funny.
So they were doing a walkthrough for me.
Wow.
So I knew, not only did I look at those maps,
that's a really good idea.
but I knew exactly what to expect. Yeah. I knew, like, this is where you go for this line, this is where you go if you have a connecting flight. So I understood all the vagaries of that airport.
Cool idea.
Well before I got there, and I felt like I practiced walking through.
That's awesome.
You can use your visualization techniques, and really calm yourself and make yourself ready. It's not, and it takes minutes. No big deal.
And my wife is in the same category. She's very anxious about traveling by herself, and not even internationally. Domestically, she's nervous. Internationally, she's so that's a good idea for her too. So there you go. There's some tips. Because I know we get emails from you guys. We don't get comments. Guys are embarrassed to admit this in publicly, but we get emails saying, look, I want to do this, but I've never, yeah, same kind of thing.
Oh, I was embarrassed to admit it too. That's why we never talked about it. That's why Caleb didn't know.
I didn't know.
Because I'm, in my late 40s and I've never been anywhere.
Well,
that's kind of embarrassing.
Well, but that's not embarrassing because that's most Americans.
It is. That's true.
Something like 70% or 75% of Americans don't own a
Never
passport
leave
and
there.
never leave. They don't have a passport, never will. So it's actually normal for Americans. Americans are very insular.
Very.
So
if I can do it with all of my anxieties, you can.
Yeah.
When I got to customs, they just said, "Oh, where are you from? What do you do? What are you doing
now, customs
here?"
in Asuncion or customs in Lima?
And I didn't have to go through customs in Lima because I had a connecting flight.
Right, because you're behind. Right, so you have a connecting flight. You don't have to miss that stuff. Just here in Asuncion. Did they speak? Because Asuncion often they don't speak English.
No, nobody spoke English.
In Asuncion, so they just ask you the basic questions to stamp your passport.
Yeah. The guy tried to speak a little broken English, but what we ended up doing was just using Google Translate, which is what I did at the security bay downstairs to get into your building.
How did you? Oh, right. I didn't think of that. You're right. How did you get Google? How'd you get internet on your phone in Asuncion when you landed? What'd you do?
So I got a global mobile hotspot. I can use it almost anywhere in the world, and it's a sort of pay as you go. So I bought a plan that was like X amount of data that lasts for 180 days.
Is it a monthly plan or is it just 180-day flat thing?
It's a 180-day flat that I chose.
And you can renew it later?
You can renew it at any time. You
How
can
much
buy
was
different
it?
packages. It was about $200 US. I found it on Amazon.
It's that thing you showed me the other night. It looks like a phone.
Yeah, it looks like a little Android cell phone that's a little small and blocky. And it literally is just a hotspot. You can connect other people's devices to it as well.
Cool.
So when we've been out and about, at the mall, for example, and we need to order several Ubers,
Oh, you're the hotspot for the group?
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Well, that's
cool.
why I got it.
Oh, okay.
Why not? I need it for myself, but other people are likely to need it too.
So do you remember the name in case those guys are interested?
It is G Local Me. So the letter G and the word local and the word ME all together.
You got it on Amazon?
I got it on Amazon.
So $200, and how much was the plan?
The plan was another like $100 or something.
Did that last 3 months?
It's
180 days,
180 days
6
is
months.
what I chose. The
Cool.
6 month you can buy shorter, longer, database rather than time based.
Cool.
Whatever
That's
you
cool.
want. But
And
it's
you
affordable.
confirmed it worked for Paraguay. You confirmed it worked for the countries.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I had to use it in Lima. Because I had to pull up my boarding passes and things.
Right.
Make sure I had
That's
everything.
right. See, I don't do that. I fuck around with the local Wi-Fi at the airport, which usually works, but it's a little tight. But again, I'm a little more confident in terms of travel. I don't really mind
Well,
problems.
you've done it before.
Yeah, I've done this a little bit before. Yeah.
That was part of feeding soothing my anxiety.
No, that's a really good,
was to
another really good
prepare
idea.
myself with the tools I was going to need.
Right. That's really smart, actually.
And then I have it for every other trip I go on.
Right.
That can be really useful at home as well.
Right.
Because
and
if
it's
I
worldwide.
travel to the UP, I lose connectivity. Verizon and these places bug out.
Yeah.
So I can still get connectivity in places in the US where I normally wouldn't. But yes, I did confirm that it worked in almost all countries in the world.
Awesome.
There are some in Africa where it doesn't. But we don't have Africa as one of our flags.
No.
So it really doesn't matter.
It's fine. It'll work in Armenia.
Yep.
It'll be fine in Armenia.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. That's another cool idea. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I just fuck around with Wi-Fi, and I have an international phone that I tether and blah. But
I'm
again,
too anxious.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. And that way, when you're traveling with groups of people too, you can just get one for the whole group. You don't need one for every person. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a really good idea.
I mean, that's why I'm the den mother. I'm a planner and I'm an organizer and I'm anxious, and that serves us well.
She is the mom. So like when we went out to dinner the first night, I said, "All right, I'm gonna pay for everyone. I'm gonna ask the check." Like, did you ask to make sure everyone got dessert? Do you fuckers want dessert? No. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Oh, then when I was eating the Chippewa yesterday, you're like, Did you want to order some protein? Like, thanks, Mom.
No, I was offering
Protein was coming.
I wasn't.
Okay.
Like I had
All
big. The portions are.
You were offering some of yours.
Enormous.
Yes.
I was offering some of my roasted chicken.
That's
to
still
him.
a mom thing.
I don't see you with any protein over there, young man. This isn't what you teach.
Thanks, Mom. Yeah. My wife does that sometimes. I say thanks, Mom. It drives her crazy. But yeah, you're a total dead mother mom.
Well, that's my job while I'm here, is to make sure everyone's safe and happy and they're getting what they need. So I take it seriously.
It's true. Yeah. What else should we talk about for Paraguay?
I think the reality is just come here and give it a try. As we started saying, most people here don't speak English. Only about 10% of the population speaks English here, according to our legal team.
Yeah, no, that's about right.
And it's so very true. I did everything the first 2 days with a group of the guys. There was no way I was going to try it by myself or try interacting with people by myself.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. And the guys were all keen on that because they feel the same way.
Yeah, we have one or two guys who speak broken Espanol, like shitty Spanish. Yeah. I speak words. People always comment and laugh when I say I speak Spanish words, which is true. I do. I say words. But yeah.
Yeah. So we did those things together, but then I've started doing things on my own. People have really been responsive and kind. They're patient with the Google Translate or whatever tool we're using.
They're so nice about that.
The waiters too are, they're
absolutely.
so helpful because they're excited to have us there.
Yes.
Tourists just don't happen. They don't run into tourists. Even at the grocery store, people in line were just excited to try to engage with me in the same way I was excited to try to engage with them.
Right.
And I'm usually a person who's a hermit and doesn't really love talking to strangers. But when you feel that genuine warmth, like rushing at you from all of these people, you have to engage. And it's been a very, very positive and enlightening experience for me that way.
You're giving a better endorsement than Paraguay than I can give.
Oh,
because I'm just used to this stuff.
My mind is just blown.
Oh, that's cool.
I expected it to be run down and scary and shitty.
Yeah, I know.
And it's glittering new buildings, glittering new malls. All the high-end American shops that I haven't even seen in years, like
Zara,
Versace, Zara Home, Forever 21, Burger King. The brands are there, intermixed with the local brands, which is really fun.
And to be clear, because in case we get nitpickers in the comments, there is some shitty stuff here too. I don't know if you've seen any of it yet. Have you been downtown and around?
Yeah, I've seen some.
So you'll see some shit here too. It's an emerging market country. There's some shit around. But it's not like all shit. There's some shit, and there's some very nice areas, and there's some little shit, and there's some nice...
It's no different than being in Chicago, except the shit areas here are a little bit easier to visually identify.
Yes. And there's also... I've shown you some videos about this already. Sometimes you'll have a brand new high-rise that's really pretty, and then right next to it is a shitty house that's going to be run down, and there's like a big hole in the roof, But that's the kind of stuff that if you wait a year, that house will be gone or remodeled or will be a new building. That's what I'm saying about living in, and I've talked a lot about this, living in a growing economy, in a growing culture, in a prospering culture, even if it's lower on the totem pole than what you might be used to, instead of being in a collapsing culture that gets worse every year and people are pissed off and the infrastructure gets worse and the taxes get higher and the inflation gets higher. And there's a big difference between those two things. You can comment on this if you agree or disagree. The whole vibe of being here is completely different than being in the United States. And I feel that more now that I'm an American, but I'm not logistically an American. I visit the United States now, and I feel the vibe difference when I come to the United States versus when I come here or other places. Yeah, that's just how I feel.
I can definitely feel it too.
Yeah.
It's
a whole
something
different thing
I have not experienced before. And there are some things even in the nice neighborhoods. I've shot a bunch of video that we'll be sharing with you guys as time goes by. Walking to the grocery store is a good example where the sidewalks are not at home. Sidewalks are not made of concrete here. They're made out of tile.
Yeah.
And different shapes and sizes.
That's correct.
It's really interesting.
Every block, the sidewalk is different. Mm-hmm. Or I'm exaggerating, but slightly.
Slightly. And in some roads, they're really like cobbled roads rather than tarmac.
Yes. Those are a pain in the ass.
But it's fun.
It's fun,
As a visitor, it's really neat.
Yeah.
Because you don't see that. You don't.
It's like a European. It's very Spanishy here. It's very Spain here. Yes.
That was the other surprise for me, actually, Caleb. How much Italian food is here.
Mm-hmm. Sure. It's very European here. Well, more European than other places.
It is. I mean, almost every restaurant you go to will have local native dishes and then Italian food.
Yes, that's accurate.
And that blew my mind. I guess maybe I'm really ignorant, but I expected more like Latin American food, not Italian food.
Yeah, and so the reason for that is you have Argentina right next to us. Mm-hmm. And Argentina is very European. Argentina is more European than it is Latin. And so those who've been to Argentina, you know. And so Paraguay is kind of not an extension, but very similar to that, which is why you have a lot of people down here. Most people here have very white skin, like her and I. They're very European in their taste buds. It's much less, when people say, Americans in particular who don't know anything, when you say Paraguay or anything Ecuador, Peru, they think Mexico. Oh, Mexico. So there's tacos and burritos and brown skinned people who are overweight. And no, that's very Aztec Mayan. You keep going down, you get more European. The further south in South America you get, the less Latin you become and the more European you become. So that would be Argentina, southern Brazil, and Paraguay. So that's why. But yes,
but
it
it's
is
fascinating.
surprising. Yeah.
It's absolutely fascinating. And we don't stand out. About 20%
No.
of the population here is white.
No, they will walk up to you and just start speaking Spanish. I've mentioned this. They'll just start speaking Spanish because they think you're here.
Yeah.
Right. Now, once they talk to you or once they get a good look at you, then they go, oh, okay, Yankee, which is what they call Americans. They don't really use the word gringo here, but they can. So when they get a good look at you, because there are some differences. You and I do look different, but not from a distance, not like walking around, especially with blue eyes and things like that. Yeah, so things like that. Yeah, that's true. Right.
But I think to sum it all up, come here. It's so cool. It has blown my mind beyond any expectation or idea I could have had, even having checked out the city and tried to learn about things before I came so I'd be emotionally prepared to deal with that anxiety. It blows my mind every day. I'm enjoying it more and more with each passing day.
Cool.
And we haven't had a meal or an encounter yet that hasn't been incredibly positive.
Mm-hmm. I've been coming here for 5 years, and same thing. Have I had any negative experiences here? I don't think so. I can't think of one, and I've been here a long time. Yeah, I can't think of one negative experience I've had either with the infrastructure here, the government here, the people here, personally, restaurants. I can't think of a single negative interaction I've had. Yeah, that's a good point. And what we'll do is we'll put a link on this video to the Get Residency service. It is possible, matter of fact, even likely that by the time you see this, the deadline may have passed for the July, but there's a recent change. We got to figure this out. Yeah. There's a change in how we do this service where we used to have people sign up by a certain date because if you didn't get the paperwork in, you'd be screwed. Our legal team has found a way around that, where if your paperwork isn't ready by the time you come down, you have to wait a little longer for your residency, but it doesn't waste the trip. So maybe either we reconfigure how we do the next one, or maybe we do the third one, maybe we do another one late this year. I don't know.
We should, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should.
We're going to do this at least twice a year, I think.
At least twice a year is the plan.
Plus all the other countries.
Right, so we have Armenia coming up next. Yeah, Armenia's the next one.
In Armenia in about 2 months' time, so I'll give you the full recap of ignorant hermit visiting yet another country and flying there by yourself.
Right. Cool. All right.
So yeah, guys, we'd love to see you here. I can't say enough good things about this place, and can't wait to come back myself.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, guys.
See you next time.
Bye.